as we look at India's growth story, we keep hearing about the glorious statistics of the rise of the Indian economy, and 4 out of the 10 richest people in the world are Indians, and so on. But there is the dark side that all of us should be aware of. 300 million Indians make less than $1 a day. 600 million Indians make less than $2 a day. India has 40% of the world's malnourished children. Okay, and these are things that as IIT alumni we should never forget about, because really this is part of the Indian ecosystem. And our next speaker spent a decade and a half thinking about the problems relating to food and agriculture. He was part of the FAO with the United Nations, and he's presently the chair of the board of directors of the Rural Innovations Network. He's an IIT Madras alumnus. And let's all welcome Ratindra Nath Roy.
Thank you, Gunjan. Yeah, I had a sort of a twisted journey to where I am. Started as an electrical engineer, went into biomedical, then into public health, then political science, and then spent, as he mentioned, some time with the United Nations. I'm basically in the business of enabling the poor to overcome their poverty. I'm not in the development business in the traditional sense. And rather than tell you about what I've been doing, I thought I'll use this opportunity of IITians and alumni IITians to throw you a bit of a challenge. Now, having worked in medicine and epidemiology and engineering, we have a notion of what a difficult problem is. I assure you that kind of development problems we are facing in poverty and in food security make most of these so-called scientific problems look like kindergarten stuff. So my challenge is, if you guys are the best and the brightest, and I seriously suspect we are, and if you have the heart, I'd like you to take up a challenge and make a difference where it really matters. If you can innovate, that'll be wonderful. If you're entrepreneurial enough to make that innovation happen, that's fantastic. If you can make it pay for itself, you're really welcome. So, there are challenges out there that at first sight look really stupid. How do we get over malaria? How do we produce drinking water in flood conditions? How do we tackle solid waste problems that are drowning us? How do we deal with adaptation with climate change, particularly agriculture, which is chasing the rains, which is chasing the weather? There's no end of problems. My question is, how are we going to tackle this, and what can the IITs do about it? Now, I'm not asking all of you to get into this business, but if you're the right kind of a person who a challenge irritates sufficiently and provokes sufficiently, and if you have the heart to follow it, then you're in the right place. I understand the IITs are actually contemplating, at least Madras IIT, creating a minor program in social entrepreneurship and innovation. Great, that's nice. May I suggest you don't waste time on the coursework and trying to teach this stuff? But as my predecessor here was saying, let's get into the exposure business. Jump in and take on the problem, and then let the faculty who claim to be teaching you innovation and enterprise coach you as you go along. Because you need that exposure. You can't be taught. Innovation, interestingly enough, I do believe can be taught. I've actually succeeded in making fishermen become more innovative, farmers become more innovative. I've even succeeded in making senior United Nations people more innovative. That was the most difficult task. But enterprise, I'm not too sure. I think you can take an entrepreneur and make him a good manager and a good entrepreneur. I'm not too convinced that you can actually make entrepreneurs. I think they are just there. You can provoke them and get them excited, and then you get their benefit. So, to close it down very briefly, what are we really talking about in innovation? We are talking about people who can look at things differently, perceive things differently, who can, connect up dots where most of us just see dots and the others can see pictures, who can imagine their way into what can be. And entrepreneurs are those who have the perseverance. These are not things you can really be taught. Who have the risk-taking ability, who have the absolute belief that they can get away with it and can make it happen. And I believe amongst us here, there must be many here who have these right ingredients, but it hasn't surfaced. And I'm hoping that if you allow yourself to be provoked a little bit, these things might surface and all of us might benefit. Thanks.